Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Shall we start? We do apologize. I think we had a load shedding, so they were still trying to get us the power back so that we are able to have our slides whenever the presenter is coming up, and we are able to share also to the screen for the audience that is here. I know that we have other colleagues and stakeholders that are joining us online. Good morning. Morning. My name is Kulegan Koza, one of the programs manager at FACET. I'll be just running this session, the FACET CEO Strategic Roadshow. For us, this session is very important. We've been engaging with the CEO to request it because we know that whenever we are going to have new windows that are going to come out, we want to give the stakeholders within the sector what is expected from them and what are the new criteria, what are the new developments that we have. Also, in her side as well, with the board side as well, they need to share the strategies that they are having in that financial year so that we are able to align. Because in most cases, we usually have difficulties once the window is open and we've never engaged. And the firing of the emails, yeah. So we said this time around, let's just start with this. Who is amongst us today. Welcome, sir. We welcome you. We have the acting CEO. The CEO is not in our midst. She recently lost her father, so she couldn't be with us. So she's still, recovering because we buried the father on the weekend. So she will be joining maybe online. She did promise that I will pop in online, but she's not with us. So our CFO, Mr. Zakaria Ali, is the acting CEO currently. He's the one that is going to take us through in a strategic presentation. And then also the FACET team, I have my peer as well. I know that most of you know her because she was the only manager when I came in, Miss Mamarot Matibe. I have my marketing and communications manager, Uvus Mahlangu, also. I have two assistant managers at the back, the people that you should border. I'm tempted that they should just stand so that you can see. Actually, there are three. Where is Chantel? Chantel, Godfrey, and Spencer. These are the people that you should border. Can you guys stand? Because I need you to see. They are running all the programs. They are the, this is Spencer Nunzi, this is Godfrey Maswangani, and Chantel Munyane on this side. So these are the 3 people that are running your programs. Yeah, because I don't want you guys to come and firing me. These are the relevant people that you should speak to. So you can sit down, colleagues. So these are the relevant people that are assisting you. And then I have my guru guy that you guys is assisting you, and my ICT project manager at the ICT side, Ego Rivera Green. Can you stand up? Because I want you, yes, this is the guy that you should bother on the WSP. If that system is giving problems, I have my guy there. Vusi, can you stand so that they can see you? The person that was inviting you to this event. This is Vusi Mahlango, our marketing manager. Mama Roti, I know that you are well known in the space, but can you stand? This is another programs manager. So we welcome you. I'm seeing some of the faces. Some of the faces are usually engaged online, but we are going to have this session. This is the safest space for us so that we can engage in everything. Comes the windows are out, then we are all sorted and then we are all aligned. Let me just not waste any further time anymore, as we have already late with 20 minutes. Let me just welcome Mr. Matibela, the board interim chairperson, to have an address on us. Thank you. Welcome, sir.
He's a bit taller, so. Okay. I would like to greet all our stakeholders, also FACET management in our midst, the CEO in the absentia, and the acting CEO, which is Mr. Ali. My name is Bongani Matibela, the acting chairperson of the FACET board. It's a pleasure to be hosting all our stakeholders. My apologies, I've got a throat infection, so I might not sound very well. It is a pleasure to have our stakeholders who are here. Obviously, at a board level, there are strategic issues that we are dealing with. Those issues, they are also informed by our AP and the SP. The SP is also directed and informed by your National Development Plan. It's part of that, your Skills Development Act, that also influence and shape the issue of the AP and SP. So at a board level, there are key strategic areas that we also focus into. That will be then obviously the learner placement, the employability and sustainability obviously on the market, the question of supporting the sector priority occupation, intervention program that talk to the scarce skills that we do have. There's also national government imperatives that are also there, that we are also focusing on, because we are aligning obviously with government in terms of ensuring that we improve the question of the skills of the young people in our midst, and also the scarce skills that they do have. We will also look at in terms of the financial sustainability of the small, medium businesses, also part of our sector. We have increased the question of the unemployment metric that we also have to seek in terms of the employment. We are also rural biased nowadays in ensuring that also the rural areas are also catered for in terms of our strategic imperatives that are there in the national government imperative. We've also partnered with communities in a form of community education and training, which they call them CET, and the technical and vocational educational training. Those are TVET. And if we also know that the minister has been emphasizing in terms of the intervention of the TVET as an alternative in terms of the university. So we are trying to capacitate at that level of the TVET, also our intervention to be able to assist that those TVET and the CET are also improved to be able then to deliver in terms of the skills development that in the space that we do have. Other priority key areas that we're also looking into as also the board is to look in terms of the provision of skills for employees in companies and trade unions that are also part of our midst and part of our sector. Key is also the question of the transformation within the sector, within FACET, especially for the black female who are also in the executive position. Is part of, if you can if you can look at the dynamics within FACET, our staff predominantly is most female, the numbers. and at a level of an executive. So we're setting the trend, and we're also of the view that the market should also follow suit in terms of ensuring that we empower the same, black women, female also, in our midst in the sector. There's a stakeholder engagement that we tried to embark on in the last financial year, where in the very similar team and the COO, they went in length and breadth of South Africa. We went to provinces like Limpopo, went to Bloemfontein, went to KZN, especially rural, in ensuring that we partner with some of the stakeholders who also market some of our offerings that we do have and the interventions that we have. Your bursaries are part of those that we had to go to rural areas, ensure that it's also there that FACET is also offering bursaries to some of these communities. So it's quite critical in terms of the stakeholder engagement that we said, let's also be rural biased. We are not an urban organization, we are a national organization that caters for urban and rural area. So it's part of the board strategy that we have to ensure that we reach everybody, we ensure that FACET is in every corner of South Africa, and they know about FACET and they know about the interventions that we are having. We are also going to use some of the tools like a stakeholder satisfaction survey for the question of the buy-in and also the feedback from the market in terms of the impact that we are making in the space of the skills development. I would like to thank you.
Thank you so much, Chair. I know that one of the committees there, they usually ask that why are you not seeing you in some certain areas? So Mr. Mathibela is outlining those things that we are expanding in terms of partnerships. We no longer want to be residing in Gauteng. Most of our projects have been around Gauteng, and most of the people who have been beneficiaries, they were around Gauteng. So the board is very critical about that, to say, can we move out of Gauteng and then impact other provinces as well? So what we have then started with the PM and the ex-CEO is to have the road shows in different provinces. We have done KZN, we have done Limpopo. In an upcoming month, we have done Eastern Cape as well. In an upcoming month, we are going to Western Cape as well, because we want to make sure that all the multitude of the country, we have a footprint of what FACET is doing, and also not having, because in most cases you find that we've been doing programs, but only regular faces, as I can see some of the regular faces in front of me. They've been part of the programs for the last, 10 years, some of them. So we are saying that in as much as we have you as an existing stakeholders, but we need to reach out to other areas as well. So thank you, Interim Chair. I have the launch video that my marketing manager wants us to have a look at it. Thank you so much. So as I was explaining earlier, to say that we are trying now to make sure that the programs that we are having, they are meaningful. So this is one of the programs that we launched with the Royal House in KZN. So the recruitment around that project, I think it was around 580 internship around the northern side of KZN. So which means all the municipality in the northern side of KZN, they were benefiting on this program. So that is what we are trying to do now, to say that each and every program that we are going to do, it has to have that impact, not around the areas, the urban areas alone. But this was the deep rural in Kwanongoma. So which means the beneficiaries was coming around Ulundi, Hluhluwe, Mtubatuba, until Upongolo, which means between Mpumalanga and KZN as well. So that is one of the launches that we have. I think marketing department has other videos as well where we are visiting other provinces as well. So thank you so much for that. I will then go to our CEO strategic presentation by our acting CEO, which is Mr. Zakaria Ali. Over to you, Mr. Ali. I should adjust for you as well.
You'll be adjusting for everyone. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity, Program Director. I'd like to specifically just mention a few individuals and organizations in our midst, maybe just high level. Firstly, to our interim chairperson, thank you very much for attending. We always appreciate your presence in these functions and these events. Also to our professional bodies, we really appreciate your attendance in these events. Our employers within our sector, we really appreciate your participation and your input. Together with the university representatives that are here today. And then to all our implementing service providers who also had taken the time out to be with us today and maybe understand a bit better what our strategic objectives are and try to align maybe yourself with FACET so that going forward we can have a much more fluid relationship. And then lastly, but not least, to all the FACET staff, the program managers who play an important role in this, as well as our marketing, as well as all our support staff within FACET. Really, thank you for your attendance and welcome again to everyone. I think my job here today is sort of a repetition of what happens each year. But what I'm trying to do today is maybe not focus on all the standard things that you probably do know about FACET and start talking about the real things that are happening at the moment in FACET that maybe impact on your side as well, and then also for you to understand how best to interact with FACET and how we can take the strategy going forward. I will, however, go through in brief just how do we link ourselves with the NSDP together with the national priorities from the Department of Higher Education side, and how those are then linked into how our targets and our strategic objectives are documented and implemented within FACET. So if I can take an example, one of the strategic objectives and priorities from the NSDP is for CETAs to identify and increase the number of occupations in high demand. So those priorities are linked directly into our APP, and one of our outcomes in our first outcome actually is to identify and increase the production of occupants in high demand. So just in basic words, if I'd like to say, we need to make sure that we are responsive to what's happening in the market, not only from a tertiary education point of view, but also how do we get these entrants into employment, So that is definitely one of our priorities. We do this in various ways. We start off from a schooling level, doing programs with maths, accounting, and English. These programs then will lead up into tertiary projects that we run through bursaries, ensuring that the occupations and the qualifications that we need, we are then supporting those. Specifically in our sector, the finance, accounting, actuarial science, etc. Especially one of the priorities and the scarce skills in our sector is also the auditor. So these are how we support through the bursary. So from schooling to bursary, and then comes the most important thing, because a lot of times we see on the news that not only in our sector, but in sectors across the different SETAs as well, you'll get a learner that eventually gets a bursary, or eventually works up and gets the funding to go into university or into a college. And what happens after that is they get the piece of paper, and then no jobs are available, or no one is there to take them on. Some employers here if you look at job descriptions, they say X amount of experience required. So essentially, we want to, as FACET, get to that point, to say, here we are now linking our employers in our sector to these learners that are coming out of the universities and the TVET colleges as well. So that leads me to the outcome number 2, which is linking education and the workplace. A lot of these programs that we run are internship programs, learnership programs, where we allow learners to get 18 months, 12 months experience, and then we place them within employers within our sector. And something just to note, it's not just placing somebody in our sector. If you take an accountant or an auditor, internal auditor as well, there's an accountant that's needed in the travel sector. There's an accountant that's needed in engineering companies. So any company that's in whichever sector, construction, whatever, it's going to need an accountant to balance your books. So it doesn't just mean that you need to place them within our accounting firms as such. It could be across various sectors, as long as there's still the need for that accountant or that auditor. Another one that I'd like to focus on here is the support and the growth of the public college system. So one thing is interesting is that normally when we speak about accountants and we speak about auditors, we speak about somebody coming out of a tertiary institution. And when you actually look at the numbers of learners coming out of these institutions, you'll really see that it's not the majority of the numbers. Either they do not qualify to enter into tertiary institutions like your universities, but they get access and entrance into our colleges. And the majority of learners coming out of those colleges need to be catered for. So one of our outcomes is the support and growth of the public college system. And it's not only at a learner level, it's actually at the lecturer level as well. So some of our programs support the lecturers at these at the TVET colleges and the CET colleges. So those are in high level how we've then linked our strategic objectives into the national priorities as well. Then moving more deeper into FACET's priorities, I think some of it has been, I've touched on it already, but I'll just like to mention a few. The first one is increasing the flow of new finance and accounting entrants into employment. So that we've spoken about taking the learner and allowing, providing those opportunities to employers to take on these learners on an internship and learnership program. And I think if we really think of the cycle of what we want to happen, not only in the finance sector but across all sectors, is once we get a learner into employment to get some level of experience, the chances of that learner getting full-time employment after the 18 months is quite high. So how that advantages us, and especially the economy, is that now that learner is in payroll. They're getting a salary, and in that salary,